Hello, and welcome to yet another episode of the Conversation Couch. Given I said you were doing this part.
We both know that you're the master of this part.
Hi, Bong, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. Give, how are you doing?
Hey, I miss being here.
I miss having
I
you
have
there.
not been in front of the mic in forever.
Yes, it's been a minute. In fact,
Yeah.
earlier, Asma was pointing out something else that you do on TikTok.
Yes,
She's like, I just came across this. Do you know about this? I'm like, that's actually the birth of TCC. It actually comes from that.
Yes.
So, yeah, actually talking about that, 10,000 subscribers.
Whoop, whoop.
Talk about it in the Get Ready With Me episode that Bonga is not willing to come on. And Give said, fine, I'll come on, darling.
It's because
Yeah.
I'm sick, guys.
But as I said then, we're holding her accountable.
Yes,
so
yes.
Yeah.
it's
yeah.
coming.
I'll tell you, TCC has been, for me, a lovely experience.
Yeah.
And I see how, I think all of us have enjoyed the experience. This morning, Bonga is talking about how sick she is.
Yes.
And then I say to her, would you like to reschedule shoot day? And then she says, if it was anything else, I would have, but not TCC shoot day. And it touched my heart. It just made me realize how we're all enjoying this so much, you know.
Yes,
I also
yes.
look forward to shoot days so much. You know, like I said,
Yes.
we record once a month, but it's always such a highlight.
Yes.
And throughout the month, I'm trying to like bank conversations. Like, oh, this is something I gotta talk about on TCC, you know, and it's so lovely. And I don't think initially.
Or you get a comment, you're like, this one.
Yes, I need to address
Next filming
this one.
session.
And by the time filming day comes, we've got so many I've forgotten.
God.
Exactly.
Yeah, sometimes I'll even be like bathing, thinking of my responses to some of the comments because my, you know, like we'll just be like so much in the flow. Bonga loves laughing at your comments. Bonga's the first one to sit on the group like, Joe, Bona, oh. So if there's anybody who's laughing at the comments, it's Bonga. So yeah, it's been such a lovely journey. But, you know, maybe let's start with you, Give. What's your experience been? Did you expect to see a 10K by a year and a half?
No.
Right?
If there's one thing, guys, I did not expect us to grow as fast as we did. And I know someone probably thinks we're some super geniuses and we planned this all along. Like we've had literally, I remember when we reached 500 and I was telling you guys, Guti, guys, this is a big deal.
Yes. You know, I'm sorry to interrupt your reflection, Given, but I have to be honest. Given was very honest about the fact that, guys, this is gonna be slow.
Yes.
He was.
Yes.
I can attest to the fact
yeah,
that
yeah.
he's genuine by saying, I didn't think it was going to be 10K this quick. He would always emphasize that it's the long game.
But I think that's definitely been the difference between me and Given.
Yes.
That he's been is going to be, I'm just like, it's moving too slowly. And then he's like, when are you spoiled? When?
Yes.
He's always like calling me to order because I'm like, no, we only hit 10K. And he's the one to remind me like, you know, compare because he does a lot of the research. So he
Yeah.
knows the numbers better. And I think we've actually worked really well as a team like that. So
Yes,
Given
yes.
does more of the tech side of things, the editing. When I tell you guys we're running out of time, it's because Given is looking at me like, girl, you think I've got the whole day to edit?
Actually, that's a very good place to start with my experience, because I think it's important for our audience. Obviously, not everyone will probably see this episode, but it's important for everyone to understand that, first of all, currently there's only 3 of us on the team. And then I do literally everything that has to do with the technical side, making sure everyone's mic is fine, the cameras are set, all the guests are properly positioned and etc., and the volumes are fine. So every time one of you have complained about the sound or complimented the video, it hits here.
Yeah.
Not in a bad way though. Always love the criticism because it helps us be better, basically. Yeah. But one thing I wanted to mention is we all have our jobs.
Yes.
We all have life.
Yeah.
You know, I just became a father.
Yes.
Bonga
a
just
year
became a
ago.
mom.
Bonga
Yes.
just became a mom, yeah. So in making this possible, we always have to consider our 9 to 5s and the lives that we're living outside of this.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why we are working on making our episodes longer, and I'm sure you guys have seen that. But just know that those are the constraints that we're facing, basically.
I mean, it would be like every time somebody says, I love your channel, I'm like, are you subscribing? Because I want to quit my job. You know, because it would be lovely to eventually get to a place where we're doing so well, but we're not there, you know.
Yes,
and so it is, I remember even when signing up with the current PhD supervisor that I have, she was like, what about this TCC thing? How much time does it take?
Yeah.
And I had to be like, no, I only shoot once a month, I promise.
Which
You
is
know?
true. That's definitely how we do it.
Yes, you know, and so, but yeah, just how much time we actually get to put into TCC isn't as much as we would like to, you know, and I think that's definitely, but it doesn't obviously translate because the people that see us is we're putting out episodes once a week. So it might seem like we're constantly, you know,
filming,
eating, breathing, and it's absolutely not the case. We actually have full lives outside of TCC. But I do see how sometimes I do feel like, oh, I wish I could give TCC more.
Yes.
More time.
Yes. 100%.
I would love to be at a place where I could give TCC more. You know,
like we actually wanted to have, you know, someone was commenting because now we've reached the 10K, and we did say we want to do a meet and greet.
We did say,
and someone was commenting that, and I think it is important for us to be honest with you guys on that I think at the time, and I was the one who proposed it, at the time, first of all, at the time I just thought it's just going to be a meet and greet, people come, and then I thought what would be better is for us to actually have an event where our audience can participate in the conversations.
Yes.
So what we record here, you would be part of it, and you can hear yourself and watch yourself in one of our episodes, which we're definitely planning to do. It's just a lot more complicated.
Yes. No. And I think definitely the layer of like how we've just got so many other things on our plate really came into. And it's come in many times, like definitely when you had a baby last year.
Yeah.
And I remember before you were like, no, I'm going to edit with the baby right here. Cha, 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 I'll just be like this. That was
She's quoting me verbatim.
Yes. And then the baby comes and gives just like, oh, mayday, help. You know, we're even like outsourcing like who can edit. We were like, you know, and it was a wild time, but it just taught me like life actually does happen the whole time.
Definitely.
I remember that one of my favorite YouTubers is the lady Shameless Maya. She really inspires me. You guys can go check her out. And she, you know, is that person that she had the opportunity to leave everything and just do YouTube. That's how well her channel does. Yeah, and then I envy that so much because I see how great it is to really be able to, throw yourself into the thing. But it's like, you know, when you're starting off, that's not the story that you have. And Bongo, for you, how's the experience been?
My experience has been awesome. I remember I'm notorious for declining things or going out or opting out of things. So I was like, let this be this one thing that you commit to, and that's for you. Like I have work, and then I don't like pursue other things outside of work. And maybe at that time, it was work at that time. So I was like, there's nothing that I do for me that's an outlet for my other aspects of my life, right? I've just always been about work and rest, you know, and I was like, I wanted an outlet, or I wanted something I could commit to for myself and experience other aspects of myself. So it's been exactly that. I mean, I don't have to think about doing TCC, you know. It comes naturally to me. It's one of the things I enjoy. I remember there was a day I was in a funk, and I was like, I wanted you guys to look for a replacement, and I'm like, not a replacement, but forever, but a stand-in, right? And then I was thinking to myself, but this is where I'm going to feel lively. Actually, it's going to bring me back to myself, you know, being with the team. So it's been really lovely. And then having the baby has affected my production side of things. I don't have as much time anymore. But luckily for your hosting skills, you've been able to facilitate without a lot of effort. So it's been awesome. And
so Bong and I do the production together, like getting the guests, thinking of topics and things like that.
Yeah, so it's been nice.
Call us the lazy ones, but we are not.
So it's been nice having an outlet for my other aspects of my opinions. They don't just stop at WhatsApp, you know. They get to a wider platform. So I love that actually, and
true to what you're saying. I remember the one time there was, I think you couldn't get a babysitter or something, and I said, "Why don't you come with us, Asante?" Oh, I just wanted to see Asante.
Yes.
It's like, why don't you come? And then you were like, "No ways."
You asked both of us.
Yeah, TCC is like me time. You know, and just seeing how ready for you it is me time. Shoot day is me time, and you love sitting with a glass of wine and just fat chats over. Yeah.
So it's really been amazing. It's been nice to commit to something.
Yes. And it's funny, you actually saying exactly what you said when we started 18 months ago.
Yes.
You're reiterating that, you know, the word you used that time was extramural.
Yes.
You said, I don't have an extramural, so this is actually nice of you. So I remember for me to actually approach you, it was just that I'd been saying it to you for many years. said, one day I want to do something and I want you to be my producer. Simply from your WhatsApp channel.
Yeah.
Like, there is no god of current affairs like Bonga is. Like, Bonga is that person, you know, she's a current affairs queen, and she's always got it on lock. And I was always like, oh, I would love to have somebody like this on my team one day. Not that I ever thought of a YouTube channel, but I just knew that, I've done radio, and I always knew that I'd have some show or something eventually. So I was always like, I want to do something with you one day, Bonga, you know. And so when the opportunity came up, I immediately thought of Bonga. Should we talk about moving from a team of 5 to a team of 3?
Yes. But
before that, conceptualization, you too.
Wait. So right now that we're here, where you're talking about wanting to work with Bonga, I just wanted to mention that thing we were talking about earlier, that the three of us, one of the things I feel like that add value to our conversations is because of our dynamic.
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely.
Because, I'm the conservative one. Yes. And then Ursh is more in
always
the middle.
On the fence.
And then the liberal.
Yes. As and it wasn't planned, yeah?
Not
it
at
definitely
all.
wasn't, but it definitely always extreme end conservative, extreme end liberal.
Yes.
And then Ursula on the fence is just like, oh, I don't know. Because I don't want to be judgmental.
Like I've actually read a comment of someone commenting in one of our conversations. They might have had a point though. But what I want to mention is they were talking about how they don't see a lot of disagreement. And I think if you're not paying attention to the nuances of the conversations we have, you will not pick up that we're actually not on the same fence. Like, we're not on obviously we all agree on general topics. We might say, we agree. Do not murder, do not do this. But if you get into the details and the nuances, we differ, we vary.
Yes. It came up from what we were talking about. I was like, oh, that's a difficult conversation. One of the ideas that we had. And then I said, because we all kind of have the same perspective on it. And then you said, no. Bonga is extreme liberal on this.
Exactly.
And exactly. That's where that. But for me, it's been the comments around sometimes the conversations we have where people expect it to be debate central. And I'm always like, is that the name of the channel, or is it called Conversation Capital?
Oh,
like, it's a conversation, you know. Whereas you'll see like the host didn't push back. Am I a push pop? Like, what is going on here? And, you know, we're creating a platform where we want people to chat and engage, and I've seen like people wanting me to, you know, antagonize the guest. Or, you know, wanting it to be like a he said, she said. And sometimes even social media can create, and, you know, maybe this is definitely just segueing into the cyberbullying experience of having a YouTube channel. But, you know, people want you to, like, you know, it must always be whatever just happened to listening.
Exactly.
And learning.
Getting the other
There are many times where I'm sitting in this couch listening to the guest and I absolutely don't agree. But it's not my platform. I've invited them to share what their thoughts are.
Exactly.
You know, if maybe I feel it's problematic, I can point out to say, oh, but have you thought of this perspective? You know, but it's a conversation. I'm not trying to make the person sitting in that seat that you're sitting in feel small, or, you know, and it always like surprises me, like, why is this the standard of what shows are supposed to be?
Exactly.
That there should be a pushback.
Exactly.
Why can't we just sit and listen?
Especially
and
because
engage?
The views of that guest sitting there, although you may disagree with them, but they represent views of someone else.
A whole population of people.
As long as they're not like go kill people, they're not violence and stuff, it's okay.
Yes. And sometimes I realize how sometimes even listening to somebody's opinion translates as you agreeing with somebody's opinion. And it's always shocking to me. It's always like, when did I say I agreed? You know, like, I was listening, because that's what we do. We listen during conversations. We learn other perspectives, and then we make our own calculated, you know, sort of decision from like, oh, okay, I'd agree with this, I don't agree with this.
I really think that the current state, particularly Twitter has that attitude. Well, X.com now.
It's called X.com.
Yes. It's rebranded.
This week,
maybe last week, but it's now.
Since after they came out with Instagram came out with
after. It happened after Threads.
What is it called? Threads, yes. Hey guys, I don't know social media. Okay.
Exactly. So I think with the current state of what social media is, people are, and you know, with a lot of popular conversations, even on YouTube, people get off of, it's like a fetish, right? A social media fetish of people disagreeing vehemently.
Schadenfreude. the joy from other people's pain.
Exactly.
I look at Tabo's episode.
Yeah.
You know, the one that but for me, it goes back to the different social media platforms. And I equate it to age groups, but somebody else could say it's just the culture that comes with using a certain platform. For me, TikTok is somewhere where very woke, right? So TikTok is this platform where everybody's woke, everybody's conscious in the sense that some people can argue overly woke and whatever, but everybody's conscious of the whole cyberbullying element. Twitter hasn't jumped onto that, and they will turn everything into, you know, because that episode with Tabo made the rounds on TikTok first.
Yes.
A year before. And it was all people really engaging in the content.
Engaging.
It wasn't about saying, oh, he's dumb, oh, she's dumb, you know. And then a year later, it makes the rounds on Twitter, and I was astonished. It all of a sudden became me versus Tabo.
Yes.
I said, when did it become me versus Tabo? I even called Tabo, like, are we cool, dog? Because it looks like we're fighting on social media, you know. And I was just so, like, shocked. It was the camps. Now all of a sudden they're camps. And I was like, how come this didn't do this on the other platform?
Exactly.
You know, and that's when I said, maybe it's about the generations that are on, like, an age group that's on a certain... And maybe the TikTok age group is younger, more woke. They're not going to take the bullying.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not saying that there is no cyberbullying on TikTok. Don't get me wrong. It's not that black and white. But just the general culture on TikTok is not that. You know, and that's why somebody can be a kasi chef on TikTok and show umtogo. And, you know, or there's other girl who just like sweeps her cuckoo and she's clean and neat. And I love it. You know, it's not so aesthetically pleasing. It's not about being the most hong and the most correct and the most, you know, it's just about being real. And the culture that's being created there is actually quite beautiful.
Very,
you know?
Very. I think that's the one thing that the guys who create those social media platforms, by the way, we're talking about social media platforms that we're on. And we've experienced ourselves. So we won't talk about Threads or, you know, and we're not really on Twitter, but we've had an impact on Twitter. Yeah. So the people who create these social media platforms, I don't think they planned for Twitter to be the place where you get dragged or the place where you get cancelled, right? I think it just, maybe there are things they can put into place to minimize the toxicity, but they definitely, the culture that, I mean, there's so many platforms, guys, that there's a platform called Omegle. It operates completely different from the platforms we're talking about because it's video based. You literally just skip to the next video and you meet with a stranger and have a random conversation.
Wow.
It's not a dating site, it's a social media platform. People from all over the world, people speak different languages. People will, you literally skip and you'll meet an artist sitting in front of a piano and they'll start singing. Like, can I sing your song? And you're like, yeah. It's therapeutic for them because you're literally, as soon as you feel like a person is a creep, you just press next. You don't know each other's names,
but you immediately
don't
connect.
Follow each other.
So when you skip to the video, it's live.
Yes, it's live.
Get your phone call, it's
basically.
Yeah.
Wow.
You just move to the next person, to the next person.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it literally, you actually get videos from there going viral because people record their conversations. Then they go viral on like other platforms. You've seen it, right?
I see what you're saying now. Yes. Where random people just having chats.
That's Omegle.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Wow.
Okay. So there's a different culture on that platform as well, right? Exactly. So it's interesting because that's what we're experiencing with the platform we're trying to build.
Yes.
Because we're trying to build a space where conversations can be had.
Yes.
We can listen to each other,
listen
to where we come from. It's kind of like what happened in both Babylon, Rome, and in Rome when they were building their societies. They literally, the concept of a pavilion comes from societies coming. I don't know if you've ever read the book of Babylon. There were wise men who came to teach the younger ones how to make money. They'd literally just have those conversations, and that's how you build societies. Like having progressive conversations, right?
I also feel conversations are more of a commodity than we realize.
Yes.
And I'm so passionate. That's why the whole conversation curator, let's talk. Let's keep sharing this knowledge. Let's keep spreading, like just talking. And sometimes even figuring out, you see, like the other day, studio audience, Shell was saying to me, I just feel better after, just the chat. We underestimate what it is just to bounce off.
That's so true.
Bounce off. But then you realize it's not that deep. Or you realize it is that deep. There are many times where I've underestimated what I'm going through. And after I've shared it, I'm like, damn, I went through a lot, and then, it just takes on a different... like role and place in my head. And so basically that's exactly what we're trying to build with conversation. And that's why I've loved every single comment that has said, it feels like I'm sitting under the tree with my girls. Because in my heart, I'm like, that's exactly what we're trying to do.
Exactly.
You know, that it's just a chat. It's not like, and then,
yeah.
And I think
right and who's wrong.
The nature of why you say they are a commodity is that the nature of our conversations allows for a safe space for people to learn what's problematic and not. You know, people learn, okay, I could think about this differently, but without feeling attacked. You know, so I think that's important, because in this age we're so careful, we're so scared, we're so you know. So I think things like that are important.
But I absolutely also don't underestimate that we are drawing the right people into the TCC community.
Very true.
I saw somebody comment, because we were talking about being talkers, and they said, I'm the opposite. I don't talk, but I wish to be like that. And they wrote a long thing explaining how their silence has, cheated them of many opportunities and whatever.
Ooh.
And I read it. Sometimes we don't have, obviously, capacity to get to all the comments, but somebody else stood up as a TCC community member. And they were like, I'm proud of you for trying. And just a stranger went and engaged and encouraged and said, we see your effort, keep trying, keep going. And I was like, we're doing it. It was such a beautiful moment for me. I was like, this is so beautiful. I love to see this.
That's actually what I was getting at, the fact that that's what we're building, and we're able to build on YouTube. But what happens on other platforms,
especially when
can be out of our control.
Grab snippets. Yeah. I remember with the Twitter, Bonga just said, don't go. Just don't go, because you're already not on Twitter. Don't go downloading Twitter for this. Leave it. There's no narrative you can control there. And just move.
And it goes away.
Yes, absolutely. A week later, people are on to the next thing. They're talking about the next thing,
Yeah.
So, but I think definitely the cyberbullying thing that I've learned or experienced, and I keep wondering if I've been guilty of it in the past, because sometimes it's easy to see something when it's happening to you. And I wonder how many things have I said to, let's say, Oprah or Beyonce, like a big person that was just out of my reach, that I just commented something that actually could have landed in their periphery. Now, you know what I mean? It's so easy to be like, I think, yeah.
Oh.
Do you get what I'm saying? Because that's what I see with some of the things people say.
They don't. They're unconscious of the fact that we're gonna
read that. And I always think you would absolutely never say that to my face.
Exactly.
Because I've met so many TCC people, and all of them love the show, and I'm like, we're the ones that say nasty things, and it's true. You just don't say that to somebody's face. And that's the thing with social media. You're behind, what do they call a keyboard warrior? You're behind this keyboard or keypad, and you forget that another human
is on
the other end, and like I said, I don't judge it so much as to really sit and say, oh, before I was in this position, was I just saying stuff, not realizing that one day Beyonce could read this.
Exactly.
I didn't like Beyonce's choreography in what. Have I ever done that? It really made me sit and say, have I ever done this to someone without realizing that she could read this?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I always think about it when we experience things like that. I always think about how, I'm glad I'm not on the other side. Like, I'm not you. How has it been? Like, I'm glad my face is not out there. I mean, you can access me on social media. But my face is not out there like you. I feel... How has that been?
We were actually talking about that today,
and
I was also like, yo, dude, I was finding it scary when you spoke of the incident when you're celebrating the 10K.
Yeah. I can even share it. I mean, the guy is probably watching, but this guy kept coming to the table 15 times. The DJ plays an R. Kelly song. What do you think about them playing R. Kelly right now? And then I'm like, Then he's like, why is the camera so close to your face? We want to see your body, and I want to tell you, you don't have to be ashamed of your body. I'm just trying to have a drink with my friends. Keep it in the comment section, it's really basic. and it was a bit, very, very, actually not a bit, it was quite intrusive. I have had a few... Not many, I mean, but it does scare me, because I feel like, and I know you hate it when I say that, but we're just at 10K. So it does scare me, as the channel grows, see, what does this mean? And I think I've always carried a very private, I've done radio, but then again, it's my voice, and then we keep it moving.
Exactly.
But now it's like, what does this mean, for people to actually be recognizing you? I've told you many stories. I'm in the gym butt naked in the, with the girls and stuff. The next thing, hey, TCC, I'm like, where's my towel? All of a sudden I feel so exposed, and there's so many stories that I could share where I just felt. I remember there was this one girl, and I felt this girl was being unfair on me, in that I actually know her and she knows me, and so I got excited to see it. Not know so well, we worked together.
Okay.
And so it was very like, hey, we were in a different province in Mpumalanga. And then she just started screaming and really grabbed onto me and really like almost tore my eardrum, and now I was just like, I wanted to like almost cry, to be like, why are you doing this? I know you. Why are you acting like you're this? Why are you doing that? Like, so that has been like, wow. But for the most part, people have been very nice. Like, just, hey, I love your channel, and keep it moving. And I love to hear it. It's encouraging. But it has been, I think maybe I can count on maybe one or two hands. Very invasive, a bit too much, which is always just like, but then, it's that thing where, like, somebody commented to say, I watch an episode from here every day. Yeah. And I realize that person is hearing my voice every day. So when they see me, they see somebody that they talk to every day, or, engage with every day. And then now it's, balanced out in my head that, be more considerate.
Yeah, it's a very important concept to understand. I think also as a viewer, it's called a parasocial relationship. And YouTube is built on this idea of a parasocial relationship, which is a relationship that you have with someone through a screen, and that person has that relationship with multiple people. But to you, it's between you and that person. Ooh. Right? And literally, this is not something that affects a few people, all of us.
That's true.
Yeah, the more time you spend listening or watching someone, following their content, you develop a parasocial relationship. Like, I've had YouTubers that I imagine myself meeting with them on a flight or somewhere, and how I will respond when I see them. Calling them like I know them.
Yes. when Shameless Maya, the YouTuber that I said I liked, fell pregnant, it was like my sister had fallen pregnant. I thought about it like, oh my gosh, I can't believe she's finally pregnant, because she fell pregnant at like 38 and her journey was so long and she really let us in,
Yeah.
And I remember just going on this journey with her. And so when it happened, I was so happy,
Yes.
And I had to remember, that's the one person I texted. I sent her a whole DM like, girl, we did it. We felt pregnant, and I can imagine how many people sent her that message. It was wild. So I hear what you're saying, and just both parties acknowledging. So the more we have these conversations, the more we realize what we're doing when we do that. When we're just engaging with someone who actually isn't physically engaging with us.
With us, yes.
And what that can look like when you meet the person. You don't actually know them, but it might feel like you do.
Exactly. Yeah, Ubonga actually sent us on the trajectory that we should be on.
Okay.
When she was asking the beginning of the channel.
Yes.
Because what we wanted to do with this conversation is also use it as a way of sort of like, there's a lot of people who ask, particularly Ursula, like, how do you build a YouTube channel? Hey, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. So remember, this is more experience, not necessarily speaking from a place of being professionals, right?
Which I think is really important. I'm sure there are other people with more documented point form opinions that could help you better than what we get. This is just our experience of the past 18 months.
Yeah, exactly. So I'll say the way that we began the channel is I've been watching YouTube for a very long time. It's basically replaced my television. That's what YouTube's become for me. And I've been learning a lot, and I'm a very artistically inclined person. So it, not only that, but there was a point in my life where the more I got into YouTube and watching a lot of people do it, the more I started, first of all, recognizing that particularly in Africa, there's not enough content. Like, I know there's a lot of people who wonder if I should get into it because there's so many people doing it. You know what you should do? This is how you know that there's just not enough content on YouTube, particularly when it comes to Africa, right? I'll be very brief with this. When I'm watching content from either the UK, or rather, let me say Europe and the Americas, the one thing, there's so much information about those places that you are more likely to learn how to get an ID, or what do they call it in America, social security,
Yes.
whatever number. You're more
is
likely
that an ID
to
number?
learn.
Your social security number?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you're more likely to learn how to do your taxes with American content
I hear.
than you are to learn with our content.
I actually hear what you're saying.
You understand what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
they document their history. They document their crimes.
Yes.
They document. There's everything.
Yeah.
They have so much
I hear.
content.
There's even something I watched recently, Crimes Gone Viral.
Yes.
It was all these American weird crimes that were caught on video. But if you think about it, it went viral. Who would think of now creating
Putting
a TV
them
show,
together.
putting them together? But it's
together.
such a lovely show.
Yeah.
I watched that thing. It's so interesting. But if technically if it went viral, everybody already knows. But somebody
Exactly.
said, if I compile all of these, yes, I hear what you're saying.
Exactly.
I hear what you're saying.
Yeah, there's quite on, and there's so much about, like, I usually use this as an example. Like, we take for granted, a lot of us take for granted, there's certain things you do that to someone it needs to be destigmatized.
Yes.
It is intimidating. I don't know where I'd start. Like something as simple as getting on a flight.
Yes.
I remember the first time I had to get on a flight, guys.
Yes.
Like, I felt like such a child because I was asking my partner, like, okay, then when I get there, where do I go?
Yes.
Okay, then she's taking me through it because she went through the very same process.
I hear.
You understand? So there's so many things that people need. I mean, obviously, you need to make it entertaining, not just informative.
Yes.
So that's where the inspiration for me came to be like, you know what, I have to get onto YouTube, not only because there's a lot missing, but also because you get rewarded for it.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Oh, I hear you.
Like, you can do this
Actually
and get
make
rewarded,
money.
make money
Yes,
from it.
Yes, I love what you're saying. Also, when we got that review from, I think it was a Canadian news We Edit podcast.
yes.
I think you guys are Canadian.
Like the podcasts they put us with.
Yes, I was like, boom. Yeah, that was a big deal. But then also beyond it being a big deal, I loved the whole. They described the societal issues that we discussed. A beautiful thing, and then they said in the South African context.
Yes.
There we go.
You know, and it reminded me how much it's actually interesting to other people also to learn what it is in the South African context. And I remember when we first started, I was like, oh, we're going international. I don't want to be speaking Sesotho. Then I realized absolutely not, actually.
Exactly.
Because we could be bringing people into the things that are happening here, you know, in the African context. What is it and really just talking about it as three people that experience these day to day.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, no, so I was going on with, this is what led to the inspiration. And then that's when I approached Ursh and was really pestering her.
Yeah.
Like just selling the idea.
Yes.
And then I eventually sent her a video I'd edited at work just so you can see the vision.
Yes.
And that's when you were like, friend, are you serious?
Yeah, because it was so good. The quality was so good because that was always my thing, the whole starting with the phone and hi guys, I'll come to my YouTube. I was like, I don't want to do that. You know, I don't want to go through that process.
And we really started off on
a really good. I mean, that was the
really
first thing.
good.
Everybody's like, your quality,
Yes.
you know. And so that was definitely So Given, you definitely convinced me with the video. And I remember Given was so passionate because Given lives like at that time in Centurion, right?
In Pretoria.
Yes, and he drove all the way. I was at a radio station doing a show.
Yes.
And he's like, I'm here to pitch because you're not hearing me on WhatsApp. This is what I'm saying we should do. And then I was like, okay. That's when I got excited.
You know, I actually saying that. So you and I have had a conversation about people who say, no, I need help. And then you give them my contact.
Yes.
And by the way, I'm not the guru of all of this. I just have to make that clear. But the point I want to make is, this is how I tend to gauge whether someone is serious or not. Like how adamant they are. Like, oh, you know, we've had people literally come in here and just want to watch how we do what we do.
Yes.
We can't accommodate everyone, but the ones that actually say, can I just come and sit?
Can I come sit and watch? Yes. And no, absolutely. Me too. When people ask about voiceovers, I say record something and send it to me. Half of them gone.
Exactly.
And that's why when they record and send, I respect it, and I definitely have to give them my opinion where they can tweak, because I understand that this person is serious. You know, this person is serious, you know. So I hear what you're saying. Like sometimes it's just that. DJ Spoo talks of a story. I don't know if it's a public story, but I remember we once hosted DJ Spoo as like a society on campus, University of Pretoria, many years ago when I was an undergrad.
Yeah.
And so he comes and he's talking to us, and then he speaks of how he got, I think it was YFM. It was a competition where you would leave like a voice note on voicemail. So they'd say, leave your link. Welcome to the, I think it was YFM competition. Leave the link. I haven't forgotten the story. He told the story like maybe at least 7 years ago in my life. And then he says, this is DJ's Boo. Catch us after the break. Hang up. He says, I call back. This is DJ's Boo. He says when they finally do callbacks, right? Now there's like, he's made it into, I don't know, top 100 or whatever.
Yeah.
He says the first thing that people say is, which one of you is DJ's Boo? That's how many messages he... I never forget that. I never forget that story. That guys, when you want it, you will... The adamants will do... Like, somebody will eventually be like, even if you weren't in their top 5 selection.
Yes.
You know? But it's like, I heard you. I will listen to you. I will give you a chance, you know?
Yeah.
So, no, that's, I hear that. I totally hear that. The adamance is also important. I will say with me, when you approached me, I mean, we discussed many options of like how we were going to execute TCC, what the name should be and whatever. I knew at the time because, I mean, I had done a bit of radio and I had done something that was every day. And then doing the everyday show, I realized, no, this is not the outlet I'm looking for. Then I moved to something that was once a week in the evening. And then I was like, this is actually the baby that I like.
Yes.
You know, once a week. And then I remember I kept saying, eventually this is what I want. Something that will happen on a Wednesday evening from 7 to 8. And, you know, we keep it moving. And so when the idea of YouTube came, I was like, oh, this is the outlet that I'm looking for. Something where I can have conversations. But it's not going to overwhelm my everyday 9 to 5. And my life generally, you know. So and
that's when Bonga came into the picture.
First of all, I am definitely the person who will be like, and Mangman. So we started off as a team of 5 because I will drag everyone and you're like, I have called everyone. Anybody who said they want to be a part of TC, I'm like, sure. Yep. What do you want to do? Makeup? Oh, next week. I'm that person, you know. Yeah.
And I'm the one, the level-headed one. I was like,
calm down. Reel it in, Ursh, reel it in. And so and then we started off with the team, but you know, I really don't speak against the other 2 that we started off with. You know, Babaland and Silo, we love you guys. Silo just moved to another province, and then Babaland got really deep into his own production because he does other production stuff, and then it just, you know, kind of narrowed down to the 3 of us.
Yeah, and they're both professionals in their own capacity.
Yes. And so I mean, Silo, we know that now you are you know, he's directing a movie.
Really?
What? What? So proud of him.
Nice.
So they're doing great, and you know, things have been great, and I think we've covered everything on our journey to
your experience. And your experience, we spoke about your experience of what is this, being known and being the face, but not of how you found the channel. The impact in your life.
Because I feel like our experiences are similar. It was only that part for me that's different because I'm on every day. The one way people think it's my channel alone, and I always have to say I work in a team. Maybe that's another thing. And then it has been definitely like people semi close to you, wanting you to do things on TCC, you know, like sneaking in like dinner PC or whatever, you know what I mean? And not that I don't necessarily mind, but it's always been difficult when you can tell that it's somebody who doesn't listen to the show or watch the show, and they're asking me to do something that is out of character of what the show does.
Exactly.
Like advertise an event. We want to come, and you know, I like my new rule is like, if you can listen to it 5 years from now and it's a relevant episode, it means that we can do it.
Yes.
You know, and once I say that, they kind of understand what I'm saying. But at first, I didn't have the words. I would just get annoyed at the fact that you actually don't listen to my show. You don't listen to the show, and you actually like.
It's like you just want to hijack the platform. You just want to
hijack the platform in the name that you and I come from far. You know, and like, what's up with that? Or people putting the burden on you to figure out what we'll talk about.
Exactly.
You don't even have a topic. Stop stressing me out, you know. And really, I think the people close to me know that, you know, you're poking. I will wobble. The people close to me know you don't have clothes in, you know. So I've seen that being, you know, that's been maybe a thing. And then my experience of TCC overall, I think it's definitely sort of led to like closer to my North Star.
Okay.
In the sense that like I feel very much this is what I'm supposed to be doing in a way that I haven't with other things. And I think for a long time it was like, because I think I always looked at it as anybody can do that. But I've learned that actually this is my gift and this is what I bring to the world. And, you know, and that's why like I started owning this whole conversation curator thing.
Oh, yes.
Because I saw that, this is actually a gift. But, you know, because you grew up speaking and doing it in a salon, starting a conversation with all the strangers in a salon or something, you don't see it as something to be, you know,
commoditized.
Yes, commoditized.
Yes.
And then so when I saw it, I was like, this is actually my gift. And just seeing people's reception. I think another experience that Bonga and I once spoke of is like, this is a wild thing, but like, you're so pretty. So where were these people in high school? Like, or in my primary school? Because I'm just like, what is all of that? You know? That's been a while. Even Bonga called it cognitive. And she said to me, guys, you know, I can agree with you because I grew up with you and you're pretty. But when I see it on social media, I'm like,
She's really pretty.
That much though, you know, and it's crazy. Like, it's a weird thing to talk about, but it was really like, what, you know?
I get you.
So that's been maybe another experience that has been very interesting. But yeah, overall, definitely, I think for me, it's just more towards, maybe not necessarily TCC, but like, really appreciating a gift that I have in like talking and communicating
and owning it.
And being like, this is something valuable.
And it really is, because I mean there were times I would tell you, Jorge, I wouldn't have known what to say next.
Yes.
But you'll do it flawlessly. So it's a gift. Not everyone can drive conversations.
Yes. And I think before TCC, I mean I did radio, but somehow it wasn't radio is a lot of links and music and you hardly actually having full-on conversations throughout. And so this is the time where I was like, oh man, I think I found what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yes.
You know? So TCC has definitely been that for me. Yeah.
And then there's Bonga who always asks the questions that you're too afraid to ask.
Absolutely. That's where the part where you see liberal, midway,
Honestly,
conservative. Bonga will always ask and then I'm like, thanks for asking, because I could have never done it.
I think also in terms of guests, like Bonga is very daring. With the guests that she wants us to bring. Like quite daring.
Babaland was even worse.
Babaland was worse.
Way worse. If you
guys go to our earlier episodes where Babaland was still a producer and commenting, you will see exactly what we're talking about. So the journey has been beautiful. I wonder how it's still going to, because I think we're right at the beginning. I mean, and it's good that we're doing a recap so we can actually recap as a team on this conversation. Sometimes it's just important to document stuff, because I'm seeing how we're right at the beginning, but so much has happened.
True.
You know, we're right at the beginning, but so much has happened, and it's like, wow, okay, this is crazy, you know.
You know, I honestly give, and I really don't say this lightly, I give so much respect to the guys who are building YouTube channels. And I've when I go to a YouTube channel, I always go to description or about, can't remember what it's called, that channel, and then it'll tell you when they joined. Right? And some people, you see that this person joined like 5 years ago, 3 years ago, and some you can see that now their channel is starting to pick up wildly. But when you look at when they joined, right, which is something, unfortunately, and I really feel like I don't want to brush over this, right, because our channel started and a lot of people saw it start, right? And then they see that after a year and a half, we're now at 10,500 subscribers.
600 today.
Yeah. You know what I mean? And by the time this airs, who knows?
Yes.
Right? And you might quite honestly sit and say, why isn't my channel growing as fast? Guys, we are what do they call it?
An anomaly.
Pony... But what do you call it when something is special? Yeah, it is. You're right, but I want to use a specific word.
Okay,
specific
word. Say that, not the.
It's so not. So not common. It's not common.
Especially when you don't have a big name. Like we're just average, everyday people, lecturer, HR specialist.
Exactly.
What do you do, my friend? I don't know
a project manager.
Project manager, I hear what you're saying. It's not like we've got like these big hitter names on our show. And
yes. So that's a very important thing to really take in, because building a channel actually takes long. That's why Ursh made that comment earlier that I was saying you spoiled.
Yes.
Right, because I had postured myself and I was ready for this to take long, and if it gets to a point where all of us feel like, guys, we tried, I was ready to get there.
I remember that was always your thing, to say let's just try, we never know, you know. And I remember when we hit 1,000, you couldn't believe it.
Yes.
And I was just like, Wanyaza.
And then we finally got monetized so quickly. I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I know, it was wild. And I think we all got more excited.
Yes.
For the show, you know. Now it's like, I really got to make sure we plan this stuff.
Yes.
Because the first episode was like, what are we talking about here? You know, like... Now it's like, okay, guys, this is what we're going to talk about. But I think we haven't carried a lot of anxiety still, which I appreciate. Our shows have been very like, we rock up and we just chat.
Yes.
And that's always been the motivation. And I think the few times where, especially when they could do like a few of the rounds on the socials and you start feeling a little bit like, ugh. But we've always, the chats before, the little bit of wine and the laughing grounds you to be like,
yes.
My gang, we're just chatting here. You know, this is what we're doing.
Even actually, the thing is, this comes so naturally for us. Even when the cameras are off,
this is what
conversations just
the whole time
day.
And we always say like, we should have recorded that one. It's so wild. Yeah.
Even our guests, a lot of them stay behind.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Guys.
And you know, I really have to say this because I'm seeing it happen a lot. And it's like, I don't know if you guys remember the times when a lot of musicians, when they blow up and then they print t-shirts. Right, there was this thing, t-shirt hype. Everyone was printing t-shirts, and I'm seeing it a lot. And there's a reason why when I was mentioning what's happening in the States and in Europe as well, and in many other places, a lot of creators are doing such diverse content, and I'm seeing a lot of people gravitating towards podcasts here. Podcasts and vlogging, and obviously there are a lot of other people doing very unique things. I don't want to take away from them, but I think I just want to voice it out that yes, we started with a podcast and we've grown it, and we're you might not know this, but we're planning different content in the background. But it's important for you to understand that there's many different types of content you can make. If you really study the people who make that content, you don't even have to show your face.
I've also felt like the people that have reached out to me to like, oh, I love what you're doing, I'm so inspired and want to do something. Like in my heart, I'm like, you can really think out of the box. You can really think out of the box, and you know, I hear what you're saying. Where it's just like sky's the limit. It's the internet.
Exactly.
You know, you can really just do your thing, and then and people want to, you know, will ask you directly like what the game plan was, and like you're saying, I don't think the game plan was ever like, we know what we're doing by August next year will be a 10K. Absolutely not. It would be a lie. You know, it would be a lie.
We've all just go into the group and we're like, guys, did you just see?
You know, that's just the experience that it's been, you know, and that's why it becomes difficult when somebody says, you know, they want like a step by. I think I can only give a step by step maybe 10 years from now, because I absolutely don't know what it, you know. But for me, it pointed more towards your concept behind there's a gap. You know, even though I didn't believe it when Giv said it, I'm like, there's too many people doing this, and he's like, no, Ursh, there's a gap, and I'm seeing, you know, people saying more conversations like this. That's probably our number one comment. More conversations like this, then I'm like, oh, this is actually really necessary, you know. More conversations like this.
Exactly.
You know, and I think maybe there are TV shows that are still doing stuff like this but who still watches TV? I don't have TV. Do you have TV?
I do, but I don't watch it that much.
TV.
Exactly. And there's something about both social media and YouTube in particular that breaks that rule that TV has, that you never break the fourth wall. Right? I remember I was watching the news the other day, and the way they read the news, and I'm like, guys, I get my news from YouTube, and I watch news where people joke as they telling you the news. Obviously not terrible things.
Yes,
Like,
yes.
I usually love following tech news and
Yes,
how
I
other
hear what
countries
you're
are
saying.
developing and other cultures
Yes.
as well. Like, the way that they deliver it, I'm entertained while I'm being informed. Right?
Yes, I hear what you're
Infotainment.
saying. Yeah, I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, no man, I thank God for the internet, and no shade to conventional type of media spaces, absolutely not.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I do see how the internet was also a very necessary space. My only thing with the internet, and it's always very important for me to mention on the channel, that it's not necessarily a professional opinion, because people take your word as Bible truth
Yep.
once you decide to put a camera in front of you and put it on
Yep.
the internet, which is like
And they will
wild to
fact
me.
check you.
Yes, and like it's like when you have a conversation with somebody at a salon.
Yes.
That's the thing with the internet. Think of it like that.
Yes.
Yes.
That it's literally a conversation with anybody that could have a camera and internet access. That's what you're doing.
Yeah.
You're exposing yourself to any human that has a camera and internet access, and take it as that. Sometimes you get a very wise word from a stranger. It doesn't mean that that person is Moses.
Exactly.
You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying? Like,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
just. Is Moses the wise one in the Bible? No, it was the one that wrote Psalms.
King Solomon?
Hey, friend. Artrel. Who was the
It's
wisdom?
Solomon.
Was it Solomon?
Solomon.
Was the wisdom
Solomon.
one
Yes.
that asked for wisdom?
Yes.
Okay, that's the one that I meant. You see?
That's why it's going in.
Guys, it's been a lovely episode. Is there anything you guys want to add?
Bonga's not feeling well, by the way.
Yes,
We already mentioned
Bonga,
it.
yeah,
in
she's
the
The
been
cough
beginning.
blowing.
Gary.
Yeah, and like, but you've really tried to. Every time we turn off the camera, she's like. But guys, can I tell you what Bonga's done? I don't know if this is part of being a YouTuber. She's been carrying around sanitizing, and she goes, as a voiceover artist who needs to value her voice and stay healthy the whole time, I appreciate what you're doing right now. You know,
It's a
keeping us
pleasure.
healthy. She's
Yes.
even got a mask, guys.
Yes.
I really
She won't
appreciate
let us touch
it.
her phone.
You know, she's like, no, it's full of germs and the virus. Love it for us. Thank you. You guys
Yeah.
need to be guests like this. Yeah, anyway, I think that's it for today.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
It's all right. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode of TCC. I hope this helps anybody who's trying to start a channel. As Given has said, go start the channel.
Yes.
Do it, guys. Like, really do it. And it could be different content. It could be something else. And at the end of the day, even if you're starting something exactly like ours, the voices will never be the same. That's all it is. And yeah, be confident in that. Please continue to like, share, and subscribe. I keep saying that it helps the channel immensely because I've learned how those comments actually go, like, stretch really far to help the channel. So please continue to comment. I've had people say, I never comment on your channel, but I love it. I'm like, do you really love it? Because if you love us, you're going to comment, even if it's
Yeah.
just like a hey, yo, I
Yeah.
see you.
Yeah.
That would be amazing. Thank you so much, though, for everybody that does share and does like and does subscribe. Thank you. For now, though, goodbye and God bless.